Joe Mazzulla, good morning.
What's up, fellas? How are you? Good morning.
Doing well, Joe. How you doing? Tough night last night,
well.
obviously.
Yeah.
Quickly, before we get to this game, you being the head coach of a professional team, and just the situation in the National Football League, sort of just at a standstill right now because of what's happened with Damar Hamlin. How much does it affect your team and your guys talking about it? Before we get to what transpired last night.
Yeah. More importantly, prayers. Praying for him and for that situation, and it's definitely a tough situation for him and his family and the team. So always praying for him and that, and I think it just affects because it just goes to show you that you never know what could happen, and so you got to do your best at just cherishing and being grateful for the moments that you have, and just understanding that. I think the other thing is these guys go out there every single day regardless of the sport, and it's their livelihood, it's their life, and so having an appreciation for that as well.
We just played the clip from last night when you said you got to go through some stuff if you want to get to where you want to go. And I want to ask you, how do you determine if you're going through it the right way and if the team is responding to adversity? Is that just wins and losses, or is that things that are happening in practices behind closed doors with you and your team?
Yeah, obviously I think it's the result, the win and the loss over the long term is kind of how you define that. But I think when you're in the middle of it, it's a matter of just how you handle situations, how you bounce back, how you execute. It's just not, it's such a long year. And, we meet every single day. We talk to the media every single day. And so, you have to have a balance of you have to go through this stuff. Every team has ups and downs. And for me, as a person and, as a coach, I think you're more judged by how you handle situations like this over the long haul.
When you were holding Marcus Smart back last night, was it a real holdback, or did you
want him to get him?
Did you feel like he really wasn't going back in and you were kind of doing it? I'm not saying you're play acting, Joe, but if Marcus Smart really wanted to go charge somebody, I'm not saying you couldn't stop him, but how much were you really stopping him?
Yeah, I was doing everything I can to protect him because I love him and care about him.
Okay. But was he really trying to get back out there?
I don't know.
Are they really? Have you been in some of those dust-ups?
My only job was to make sure that he did. That's all.
Okay.
Like today, if you rolled out the wrestling mat at practice and you and Marcus Smart wanted to have a little go at it, who comes out of that?
Right. Who taps out? Who gets pinned?
Is there a referee or is there no referee?
No referee, no holds barred.
Yeah, no can't flop.
No referee. Me and him. I think we both just keep going until we lose a limb or something, until we can't go anymore.
Wow.
Okay.
Like I'd pay to watch.
I'd sign up for that.
That sounds like a pay-per-view. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I love them, care about them, and it's just not always easy with these guys navigate on and off the court. And so, you have some nights like that. But my job was to just protect and make sure. He just got back to the locker room.
It's obviously a frustration level when Oklahoma City, is able to do what they did last night. 5 players scoring 21 points or more. Defensively, it just seems I don't know how you approach that, today at practice or, at your next shoot around. Like, how do you combat, the defensive shortcomings when you have so many guys go off like they did last night?
Yeah, I think you focus on the ones that involve effort and the ones that involve execution.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot to look at, but I think we gave up 38 points in transition and 22 points on individual defense. So there's a lot of stuff there that you can coach, and there's obviously some stuff there that's just going to happen. But I think you focus on the things that you can control.
Yeah, and off of what you said, where you meet with these guys obviously every day, and it becomes a grind, and you guys are in the middle of that grind right now. Jaylen Brown was pretty pissed off after that game last night. He said we take it for granted. We just can't, show up and think we're going to play, and we don't play. The effort wasn't there. How do you keep that when you talk to these guys next from snowballing? And I don't know, everybody's in the NBA and they're good, but.
Yeah, I think snowballs. I think stuff like that happens when you overreact and when you put yourself in situations to where you got to handle it with maturity and understand that. And so, everybody's pissed off. It's not acceptable. It's not, can't happen, but sometimes it does. And so to me, I always go back to, okay, now what? And so this happened, but we can't control that anymore. And what we can control is how we're going to handle it. And, so how you're going to handle it isn't necessarily how you're going to handle it in the next 24 hours. It's how you're going to handle it over the long term. Because we're going to be in situations like that throughout the year. And so I think that's the thing that I always try to go back to.
How are your eyes feeling?
They're good. They're actually, it's a quick healing injury. So I was very fortunate for that. So they're fine now.
I mean, you looked to be in pain. Just seeing you when you met with the media that first day that everyone was made aware of it, it looked like it was something that probably didn't feel great.
No, it's one of those things where, it seems small, but it's pretty painful. So, those 2 days, like that day that it happened and the next day and a half were pretty rough, but they say those things heal in like 2 or 3 days. So it was good though.
What'd you take for it? They you get the drops and
eye
everything,
drops,
right? Yeah.
You got these eye drops and this weird ointment that you got to put on at night before bed that
You got to put it in the corner, right? Like just right in the corner.
Yeah, it's weird. But the doctor stepped up for me. I appreciate it.
Nice gel in the eyes.
You go through a lot of pillowcases doing that, though. Like, that pillowcase had
laundry.
a mess in the morning.
Yeah. All crusty.
Oh,
You wake up, that nice hot wet rag on there, get it, soften it up.
That's great.
okay.
All right. So just before we let you go, I mean, what's your focus here over the remainder of the road trip, and what are you focusing on to end it on a better note than the way it started?
Yeah, I think just getting back to just our consistency. That 4-game winning streak that we had, we really got back to doing a lot of things well, but we were consistent in our effort. We were consistent in, paying attention to the details and executing the details. So those are the two things that I think in moments like this you always go back to.
All right, Joe. Appreciate your time.
All right, man. Thank you, guys.
All right, be well.
See you,
Thanks.
Joe.